Hi, this is Carol Wisely with Radio Free Decipher on a cold and breezy Friday morning in Norfolk. Today we're going to be talking with some people on the telephone. Before we do that, I just want to let all you news-hungry people out there know that I don't have any scoops today. I don't have any hot news. Things are going along very well here, but we've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We just don't have any definite dates yet. I know that Blaze of Glory is coming together. I know that Endor is looking good. I know that Young Jedi is incredibly exciting, but I don't have anything I can tell you. So for all of you who just listen to this broadcast to find out the latest insider stuff, I'm afraid today you're not going to get any. For those of you who have an interest in the playing scene in a more broad way, I think you're going to enjoy today's broadcast. I'm going to be talking with a number of our squadron members and ambassadors from around the country who are going to be phoning in at various times and telling us a little bit about the playing scene in their area. And I think the first guy I'm going to be talking to should be on the phone any moment. So my first interviewee is Chris Swearingen. Chris, tell everybody where you're from.
I am from the great city of Nashville, Tennessee.
And are you an ambassador or squadron member?
I am an ambassador.
And what region is where you are?
Well, we recently were annexed by Cardassia. We used to be part of Sector 001, and as of March, we'll be part of Cardassia.
Oh, that's right. All the Star Trek regions changed recently, didn't they?
Yes, they did, but it still kind of makes sense. We sit on the doorstep of Tornado Alley, and I kind of named Tennessee as the Badlands region, so now we just switched over to the DMZ, and it's pretty cool.
Well, tell me about your involvement with Star Trek and how long you've been playing, Chris.
I started playing in December of '94. I found the cards after the limited edition had already been released, so all I had to play with were the Unlimiteds, but at the time I didn't understand or really realize what the collectible part of the game was, and really stuck with the game for 2 years, and then went to Huntsville for the 30th Star Trek anniversary, where I met a lot of people who were with Decipher, and then played in the Nationals down there and met Dave Bowling, who has been a really great force behind the game, and he ended up winning that year. But after that, the sanctioned tournament play for Star Trek started, and ambassadors who supported Star Trek started popping up. One of those in this area was Jim Colson, who really did develop the entire middle southern region of Tennessee and Alabama, and really brought around a lot of tournaments in Nashville, Huntsville, and Birmingham. And then midway through August of '97, I received an email from Jason Winter, who kind of politely told me that Jim wasn't the only one who could run tournaments. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I got an application, filled it out, and it was at that point that I became an ambassador. And I really started after Worlds in 1997, and First Contact with the release of First Contact, the revitalization of the game, and then all of the expansions that followed really have helped this area grow to be a very, very premier area, I think, in the gaming world.
Cool. So tell me about the playing scene down there. What kind of decks do you see? What kind of level are your players?
You know, I found a few players who recently came into the game who immediately took to it. These were actually converts from other games, and specifically other card games, that simply, when Star Trek caught on down here, there are a lot of card shops in the area that open their stores to gaming, and they cannot keep anybody out of these stores, and they just continue to play. And as more people play, more people see it. You know, more people see things that they have seen on TV or seen in the movies. They see it on a card table, and they flip over it. The main thing that's really happened in the last few months are converts from old games who have come back into either game that Decipher makes, both Star Wars and Star Trek, and really have just grabbed a hold of it. So the funny thing is, with new players coming into the game who've really taken to it, you see a lot of decks come out. One of the top players who's quickly rose in the rankings in the region has been playing a Klingon attack deck, which was only made stronger by the release of Martok in the Dominion. He has really made a lot of people shiver every time they sit across from them because they know that their outpost will be destroyed within 4 or 5 turns. We see a lot of, ever since the adoption of the three-way treaty allowing battle restrictions, we've seen a lot of Federation attack decks as well. A lot of people like to play the Federation, and a lot of people like the fact that they now have a mean streak. So we see a lot of different things here.
So you're seeing all the affiliations being played? Are people playing the Dominion affiliation?
The first tournament I ran, which was not 10 days after the release of the Dominion expansion, we had a Dominion deck or two in the tournament, which was very, very impressive. We also had a board deck, which was playing with some of the enhanced first contact, which had come out a little before that. And I actually saw during the first round game, the guy used the specific text on one of the cards that allowed him to rip open a first contact pack and immediately pull people out into play.
Did he get a good draw from that pack?
You know, I can't remember. I think he assimilated a few Federation people, but I don't think he got a Riker or Jean-Luc Picard to assimilate. But he did get a handful of things. I do remember hearing, though, on the listserv that this also happened on that same weekend where someone was losing to a colony deck, and the board player ripped open a pack and pulled out the intermix ratio to stop the bonus points from happening.
Cool. Now, do you see the overlays being used?
I haven't seen them in any tournament play, but I have actually seen them in personal play used against me. I've had a couple of people assimilated, and they've been turned into nice drones and whatnot with the overlays.
Cool. Well, Chris, we're going to have our next caller in about 60 seconds, so going to have to keep this brief, I'm afraid, but we'll probably repeat this in the future.
Not a problem. Thank you so much.
Thanks for talking with us.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, I'm talking now with Alex. Pronounce your last name for me.
That would be Alcalde.
Alcalde, right. Alex Alcalde, who is a squadron member?
Yes, I am.
And tell us how long you've been with the squadron, Alex.
I have been with the squadron, I would believe it would be October, maybe I think 97. It's actually been a long time.
A couple of years. Well, yeah, getting on for a couple of years. Great. And what region are you in?
Well, I originally started in Toronto. That's where I got my squadron membership. I was starting to hold tournaments. I actually held a regional up there. And then I moved down into Indiana to Terre Haute to continue my studies. Right now I'm actually working on my graduate degree.
Uh-huh. So what region is Terre Haute in?
Terre Haute is in Karelia.
Karelia. So tell us about the Karelia region and the kind of players you have up there.
Karelia is actually a pretty good stronghold for Star Wars. The players here are really power gamers. They are tough. They love the game, and you see a lot of new cards or strategies all the time, actually. I had the great honor of meeting Joe and a lot of the other squadron members like Heath, who are actually fantastic players. And then, of course, we had our regional qualifiers where a lot of great players showed up in Chicago and in Indianapolis.
Uh-huh. So what kind of decks are being played at the moment?
Right now, I seem to be seeing a lot of operative decks. I think this is probably pretty standard for around the area, but it's not even to my liking. I prefer to stay away from swarm type of decks.
So what particular operatives do you see?
Actually, if it's playable, it's out there.
So you're saying operatives are more popular now than mains and toys?
Yes, actually at my last tournament, I only saw 2 or 3 mains and toy decks, the Hunt Down and Destroy, and even Hidden Base, while operatives were almost all common for the light sides.
Uh-huh. Who are the top players in your area?
In my area right here, well, actually I get a lot of visiting players that come down from Indianapolis, but Justin Stauffer comes down a lot, another squadron member. Then we have, I guess the top local player would have to be Josh Clark. He's plays mainly for sealed deck, and that seems to be taking off a lot.
What kind of sealed deck formats do you play?
I always like to do the enhanced style with the booster draft.
Oh yeah, that booster draft is very, very popular now. Your players like that?
Yes, they love that. The first time that I actually held one, they wondered why Decipher did not actually come up with this a long time before.
Well, we're certainly promoting it now. I mean, we just like people to have fun with the game, so whatever works for them, we'll support it.
Mm-hmm. Well, but now my time mainly seems to be going on to the internet, and that's where I seem to be recruiting a lot of my players now from around here. And actually, just recently on ICQ, I've been actually holding what I like to call Squadron member chats. We actually have a good number of us that get on in the evenings to really bounce around the rules and ways of picking up players.
Well, for all the beginners out there to the internet, explain ICQ, because that's not something I've used, and I know there are people who don't understand it. So just explain the format.
It's a little program that loads up whenever someone is online, and it provides everyone else with your number, with telling them that you are actually online, available to chat, to receive emails, and we basically, the squadron members, provide a lot of help to other players, and we are actually available anytime that we're online for questions.
That's great.
Most people can just look me up by entering in a simple email search.
Well, that's fabulous. And do you do that at a specific time every day?
I do that mainly after 9 o'clock at night in the evenings.
Great.
Until 2 in the morning sometimes.
Now, do you play yourself? Do you get to play?
I don't play online. I'm not too much of a fan of that because I've run into problems in the past.
And what about in the real world? Do you play, or are you always too busy running the tournament?
I'm actually too busy running the tournament. The last time I actually did play was at the Chicago Regional in, I think it was August last year.
Wow, so you're not really fighting to protect your rating?
No, the rating is secondary. The primary goal is to have fun and to promote the game.
And how many players in your local playing group that you run tournaments for?
I don't think I've had a tournament that has had less than 25 players.
That's great. That's really good.
For having such a small area of about 70,000 players or people living here, we have a great turnout.
Well, that's fabulous. Have you had any of the Decipher guys up to visit you yet?
Not down here. While I was in Toronto, Kendrick would show up a couple of times.
Oh, well, we'll have to get either Kevin or Kyle to swing by on one of their tours.
Oh, they definitely would have to. We just had a new store open up, and they're all hyped about the game now.
Great. So you're looking forward to episode 1?
I am. I actually have. I'm in the works of planning a convention, which is a CCG convention, which the date is on the 22nd. So we've actually rented out. We've bought from the theater a whole time slot.
Oh, fabulous. So that's great.
Looking forward to that.
Okay, well, thanks for talking with us, Alex.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, I'm talking now with Guy Kargl. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Guy?
Yes, it is.
And tell us where you are at the moment, Guy.
I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And what region is that?
Dantooine.
Dantooine. Okay, so how long have you been involved with the Star Wars card game?
Oh, gosh. Bought my first starter deck and a couple of expansion packs the very first day it was released.
December 22nd, 1995, I believe, although maybe that's not quite when it hit the streets. Do you remember what day it was?
Though.
Do you remember?
I had a friend who was working at Babbage's, and he let me know the first day it was out, so...
Great. Did you start playing straight away?
Oh, yes.
Good. So can you remember the first ever deck that you built?
Oh, gosh. I think the first deck I built was just the first cards that I got out of the starter deck, and I think I bought like 4 expansion packs. I didn't have much to choose from, but it was fun.
Did you get a good rare?
Actually, I got an Obi in my first starter deck.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty much what hooked me, I think.
So you've been playing ever since?
Oh, yes.
And you're a squadron member?
Yes.
And what's your number, your designation?
Red 61.
So you've been there a while if you're Red 61.
Yeah, about a year and a half now.
Great. So, tell us all about the playing scene in Tulsa and the surrounding area.
Well, we have a tournament here on the first Saturday of every month. We've got about, 6 or 8 other tournament directors here in town that run tournaments, sometimes on Monday nights, sometimes on other weekends. There are several tournament directors in Norman and Stillwater and Oklahoma City.
Wow, that sounds busy.
Yeah, we've got stuff going on just about every weekend in Tulsa.
Have you ever done any sort of cross-state stuff with the guys down in Texas?
Oh, let me think about that. I held the regional last year, and a bunch of them came up for my regional. And I've gone down and I've met John Vandermeer in San Antonio, but I didn't play in a tournament there. I didn't have the time to do that.
He's a great player.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So who's the good players in your area?
I tell you what, Paul Hodges is the main guy around here. He's the guy to beat. His uncle is Bill Gordon. And the two of them pretty much duke it out at every tournament. Yeah.
What kind of decks do you see being played at the moment? What are
Operatives are really, really big. Basically anything that you can react with is big.
So you think special editions had a big effect on the playing scene?
Definitely. It was a big set, and there were a lot of really good cards in that set.
Do you think people have discovered everything that's in there now, or are they still working through some of the strategies?
I don't know. There are a lot of really smart guys that, they just look at the card list and they can just come up with all this stuff. I can't do that.
Do you still play?
Oh, yes, definitely. Matter of fact, we had a tournament on Monday night, and I played in that, and we've got another one tomorrow. I hope to play in that one. The guys that come up with all the strategies, I like to think that they just find them right away, but I also like to think that there may be some that are hidden in there that they haven't found yet. Do
you have a favorite strategy that you play?
I like the Dantooine base operations because I can put S-foils in it.
Now, that's right. Tell us about S-foils, Guy.
Well, you guys had a contest a while back. Gosh, when was that?
Oh, that's a while ago. I would say it must be over a year ago.
Yeah.
We did design a card contest.
Right, and I submitted a card design. I thought at the time it was right before, I guess it was right after Hoth came out. And it was a dark time for the rebellion, and the rebels were very, very weak in space, and I figured that we needed something to boost the power of the rebels in space. So I submitted a card design for S-foils, and apparently you guys thought it was a good idea. So
it did. We did. It won the contest. I remember that. I think we had about 300 or more entries, and we shortlisted down to 12, which then went to PD for consideration, and yours came out. Now, tell me, did it change at all? Because I know PD reserved the right to make changes.
It did change a little bit. My original card design, you would flip it over if it was off and flip it face up if it was on. And, there were some other little things that you would do. But basically, it stayed the same.
The stats stayed the same, did they, the numbers?
The Destiny number changed. I think my original one was a Destiny 2.
And are you happy with the image they chose?
Oh, yeah, the image is great. The image is much better than the one I chose.
So I hear a lot about S-foils. I think it gets quite a lot of play.
Yeah, it really does boost the power of X-Wings, especially those X-Wing assault squadrons. So any space deck, especially Dantooine base operations, it's a must-have card in those decks. Good.
So you're going to get involved in the qualifying system this year, do you think?
Definitely. I'm looking forward to that. That's a big deal around here.
Oh, good. So you're going to try and did you ever qualify?
No, I'm not that good. That's why I became a squadron member,
Well, I hope you still have fun playing.
Oh, sure, I love it.
Do you see much sealed deck in your area?
Actually, I love sealed deck. I try to get my other tournament directors here in town to run those so that I can play in them.
Yeah, the booster draft seems to be a very popular formula at the moment.
Yeah, we tried that one time, and I think we did it wrong. Luckily, it was a non-sanctioned tournament. And I don't know that anybody else has tried it since then, but we need to do that. Matter of fact, there's one coming up pretty soon. I'm going to suggest that the tournament director do that.
Yeah, because I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were saying that it was incredibly popular in their area, particularly booster draft. So maybe it's time to revisit that.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy involved in actually getting the cards that you're going to use to build your deck that you don't get with the standard method of sealed deck.
Great. Well, Guy, thanks for talking with us. I'm running out of time, and it was great talking with you. Good luck with playing down in Tulsa.
Thank you very much.
Give our regards to all your players.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, everybody, I'm talking with Mike Hardy. Mike, where are you from?
I'm from the Bay Area in California.
So, Mike, you're from the Alderaan region?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's one of our more vigorous regions, I believe.
Oh, well, we try to do our part.
How long have you been playing the game?
I've been playing since the game came out in 96.
It came out 22nd of December, 1995.
1995? Well, I remember picking up the starter deck around in January of 96, so I started playing about then.
Wow, so you really are a veteran.
Well, yeah.
Now, how long have you been a squadron member?
I've been a squadron member since March of 97.
Wow, that's a while. What's your what's your number?
My number?
Your squadron number.
I'm Red 32.
Great. So you're one of the Reds. Okay, well, tell us about the playing scene down. What part of California are you in? The Bay Area, you said. That's San Francisco, yeah?
Yes, that's Northern California.
Uh-huh. Tell me about the playing scene there.
The playing theme is, well, since we've got a lot of the high-ranking players up here, Todd Feldman, Jeff Field, it's pretty competitive up here in Northern California. You have a lot of players coming in and laying a smackdown. So it's pretty much a lot of the very popular deck styles are seen up here in Northern California.
What's the current most popular that you're seeing?
Well, for light side, you got your hidden base, pretty much X-Wing Swarm. For dark side, it's ISB, Operations, and Hunt Down.
You seeing a lot of operatives?
No, actually, no. We're not seeing a lot of operatives because Grimtosh and Monarch are very popular up here in Northern California.
And they just about finished those off, do they?
Well, yeah. If you have a lot of cards in your hand, Grimtosh is likely to show up.
So, do you have a lot of beginners coming in?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a few beginners coming in every now and then. As I run a lot of junior tournaments, I get a lot of new kids coming in.
So how does a new beginner in that area cope when they come up against these really, really hot players?
Well, the good thing is the good players are good to the point where they're not just good players, but they're also good sportsmen, and they run around and they teach these kids how to play. I remember one time Todd Feldman actually losing a game to teach this one person how to play because he was new.
Oh,
yeah, he raised his hand and says, "Look, I'm going to take a little bit longer than usual because I want to teach this guy how to play." And I think he ended up taking the loss for it.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So, what's your favorite card?
My favorite card?
Yeah.
The Imperial Star Destroyer. I've always liked Star Destroyers.
Uh-huh. And do you get to play much, Mike?
I used to play a lot, but I wanted to concentrate on running tournaments, so I've pretty much dropped out of competitive tournament play most of last year. I've just recently started back in the competitive scene. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I played in a tournament in Las Vegas, Nevada, and got slapped.
What are you looking forward to the most in 1999? That's a tough question. Well, focus in on Star Wars then.
What's that?
Focus in on Star Wars. What are you looking forward to the most with Star Wars? And don't say the movie, because we all know that.
Death Star 2 and Endor. Bring on, baby.
Well, I wish I had a date to give you on Endor. I know it's proceeding very smoothly through PD at the moment, but we've got so much going on here. We just don't know quite when it's going to come out. But everything I hear about it sounds great.
That's okay. Take your time.
I have seen the poster. You know the movie star posters that we do, the big ones. I've seen that, and that's just awesome. I'm not going to describe it yet for people, but it looks pretty amazing.
Cool.
Okay, well, thanks for talking with us. We're going to have to go. We'll have another caller in a moment, and good luck with your tournaments coming up.
Great. Thank you for the interview, Carol.
Okay, bye.